Another week of sports, another week sitting beside a beauty. Welcome to this episode of Beers with Beauties.
Doesn't matter if you got Coors, Busch, Bud Light, or a local shop's IPA. All beers are welcome at Beers and Beauties, baby. Let's go.
Okay, all right. All right, okay. She's been sporty this week.
It's sporty every week. That's the thing. It's hard to keep up.
You know what? Like, it's such a good thing when you can say it's hard to keep up, because even when I was looking at my NCAA women's basketball bracket, not bracket, but overall standings right now.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, it's a fun time of year. This time of year, basketball, volleyball.
Oh, yes.
Last year. It's funny to think back to. Like, one of the first real sporty rants I went on this time last year was volleyball.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Volleyball has this and oddly enough for me, has a super special place in my heart, even though I'm 5'4" 3/4.
Because you got them long arms. You got them long limbs all the way up there.
Yeah, you combine that with growing up in a town where there's not enough people to fill a roster unless we all play.
Oh my God, I love that. Okay, let's break that down for everybody that listens to the show for a long period of time here. So, Cowie, you stand at a what? A strong 5'5"?
Yeah, I'm 5'5" on a good day.
5'5" on a good day.
Yeah.
But the old wingspan, when you let the fingertips fly.
Yeah, 5'10" and a half. Yeah, they're oddly long. Oddly long. And it's
Big fan of that. Big fan of that.
Most you wouldn't. I mean, it sounds worse than it is in most instances. Like, lots of things, my sleeves are, kind of oddly short, but you wouldn't notice it until I say it's part of the reason I'm a half decent hugger, because I literally get to wrap you.
That's right.
Because I got long arms, and when I played volleyball, it made up for the lack of height.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I always in the middle.
That was exactly what happened. And it's funny. I had an experience once, and this is random story time, but I was in Toronto for a Crohn's and colitis conference, and I spent a lot of years on a corticosteroid, and my feet are big too. I wear a 9.5 women's shoe.
You got some feet to you too.
Yeah, so I got big feet and long arms, and then I'm 5'5".
That's the best.
So it's always did something stunt my growth? And it's not like I'm a coffee. It's not like I started drinking coffee when I was 7. It's shoot, what happened to me? So my theory is that in another life, a healthier version of me as a kid, I might have turned out to be a 5'10"er.
Wow, based off of the old limbs, that would
imagine it would entirely change me.
It would change the whole dynamic. I agree.
And people think I'm tall. People are shocked when I say, "No, what are you talking about? I'm 5'5". What? No, you're 5'8". No, dude, I am legit.
Yeah, 5'5".
On a good day,
That's
when
right.
I don't slouch at all, 5'5".
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I just thought that was so funny, because when normally you've got a lot of people have one leg that's a little bit longer than the other or whatever. Your wingspan is significantly different than your height.
Yeah.
You go from straight hockey player to basketball player.
Should have been a swimmer.
Oh my God.
Should have been a swimmer.
Should have been a swimmer.
Should have been but I'm
with those mitts and feet. Come home, baby.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Oh God, the rest of me is not made for swimming, but that though, my arms definitely, that would have worked. Yeah.
Oh my God, I always love to think if we talk this way and it's your first time tuning into the show, you're
sorry.
What? We thought this was a sports talk show. Talking about it is. Yeah, it is.
That's what we're talking about, sports.
That's
it just
right.
So happens to be. That's a good point, though. If it is your first episode here, welcome to Beauties Sports. My name's Cowie, and my buddy beside me is Addie. You should, if you haven't already, go and find us on Instagram at Beauty Sports Talk. You can find Addie at Addie Miles Abbott, me at Cowie14. And before we get into the rest of the show, the best way to help us share the love, spread the news, grow the pod is to leave a rate and review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever it is that you find your podcast these days. Make sure you go and give us 5 stars only and leave us a nice message. If you have something shitty to say, send it to our DM so we can hit delete.
Send it straight to the DMs.
Send it straight to the DMs.
That's right. It's so fun this time of year because even when we were chatting about, the episode before we hit record, we had gone through like 6 different sports in like the matter of 2 minutes and in all the conversations and everything that's happening within the women's sports world. And even if we're just starting off this crazy week with, women's basketball, right? We've got the WNBA.
Yeah.
With the Indiana Fever taking the first overall pick.
Again.
Right? It's like that is going to be such, like, I still say they're 2 to 3 years away from being an absolute dynamic force in the WNBA because, Destiny Henderson, all those women that they recruited or drafted last year.
Yeah.
They had a season under their belt, another one. Now they're going to get another unbelievable prospect coming in the next year. It's like this team in this franchise is, I would say, 3 years away from being an absolute
setting themselves up to be take a run at it.
Huge force.
Sure. Yeah, for sure. And it's, by then it'll be funny to see because we might have some extra teams in the WNBA by the time the Fever really rocking and rolling.
So much chitter chatter about the growth in the WNBA. It's nuts.
Right? I know.
It is nuts, which is exciting.
It is exciting. I did like, I don't know if did you see on Instagram where Kelsey Plum was talking about equal pay in the WNBA?
Yeah. Oh, how could I not?
Yeah.
She's a freaking beaut, man.
She's
unreal.
And I just love how she can articulate a thought and do it in a very direct way, but be respectful of others. And, her point is that when women are asking for what they deserve, they're not asking to make the equivalent of a men's franchise.
Yeah.
They're not asking to be paid like LeBron James, but they're asking for equal share of what these franchises are bringing in.
Yeah, that's right.
And her example was even in jersey sales, right? That someone is making money off of these women and their talent.
Yeah.
And it's not transferring down. So the WNBA has been kind of one of our shining examples of how to grow a league. We saw some pretty rocking and rolling NCAA basketball, and so we'll see who ends up cracking into some WNBA rosters next year as we fill it up. But basketball, it's hard to see the lull too, right? At least we have the NCAA kind of fills the gap as we lead into March Madness, and then we get into the WNBA season starting in May.
Yeah,
but it does feel like that lull. You're waiting.
You're waiting, and you're seeing
basketball.
So many things going on in the background. And so this past week, the WNBA schedule has been released. So starting May 19th, 4 games kick off. But we talked about it a ton last year. And if there's anything that I can suggest to people, it is get a league pass.
I know.
It was unbelievable last year.
Yeah.
I could literally in 2 clicks on my phone have it, the Sky Game, have the Sky Games up, watch them in full off my phone, great quality. It costs $24. Like, we do not get any kickbacks off of this, just so everybody knows. This is straight up.
Oh, yeah.
Get a league pass. It's ridiculous. Don't be silly. Well, don't be silly and not get yourself a league pass.
And to every other league outside of, honestly, the PWHPA this year, who's got it on CBC Gem, to every other league, make it this easy.
Oh, bingo. That's so right. Make it this easy. And as I'm now looking at this, I've gone through the schedule like a bunch because my birthday is around this time.
You're looking for the day that Chicago goes to Minneapolis?
You'll never guess when.
Oh, May 19th. Addie's birthday, for everyone who's wondering, is the day before that. So Tara.
Yeah. We will be going to Minneapolis. It's a Friday, May long. There it is. But it is already in the works, so it's out there. And keep your eye on other franchises that are going to be jumping up for the WNBA because they talking about it.
Yeah, and they need to. We've talked
agreed.
about that in the past. How many talented players are not in the WNBA because there's not enough room for the talent.
That's right. And the one thing that I will say that I saw, like Sabrina Ionescu was at the World Cup, and so was Samantha Kerr, who plays for Chelsea, and they exchanged jerseys.
Cool.
I'm like, that's
what sports needs more.
Because you think about it, and then Sam Kerr is dating Christy Mewis from Gotham FC. It's like the world of women's sports is so connected. Oh, yeah. It's like we need to start showing that so much more, and the switching of the jerseys and, at those huge events where women are going to support these events because they've grown up watching them and they think they're amazing as they are.
Yes.
It's like, but even though you're still watching them, it's such a big deal. Even with I think it was Kevin Durant was watching women's basketball and giving shout outs to the women because they were just like, well, it's been lights out. Like, even if we look at the women's basketball, NCAA D1 is where we mainly have our focus. Like, to show the intensity of how competitive this league is, Connecticut falls to Notre Dame 60-74.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
That can't be real life.
I know. Well, we'll see. And UConn, yeah. Nothing matters until you get to March Madness. Like, it almost is that,
so true. Like,
right?
spoken like a true fan. That's exactly right. Like,
it's like the playoffs. Any of you that are NHL fans or NFL fans, or I don't give a crap what you've grown up watching on TV. We all know nothing matters until playoffs.
It's so, and it's like, we've heard that for so long as like when you're playing sports, that being an avid fan watching sports, you're just like, they'll come around.
Well, and
second half,
you think about it even as a coach, right? Like, you just gotta make the cut.
Oh, that's right.
Anything can happen after that. So
that's right.
When you're battling, whether you're battling injuries or whatever that is, it's like, yeah, of course everyone wants to have that perfect season and not lose, but that is next to impossible.
That's
with the level of talent that's out there. So.
Well, yeah, number 1 South Carolina versus number 2, Stanford goes into OT. South Carolina coming out 5 points ahead. It's like war. And one of those things that we were talking about prior to is that college has such a different feel than the pros, solely because these women that are playing in college are still they're fighting for a spot.
Yeah.
They're like, once you get to the WNBA, yeah, okay, you're competing to get into the lineup, you're competing, but as soon as you're drafted, you're there, you're in the atmosphere. There is that compete level that's still there, but it's a different feel than when you're still in college, and you gotta rough it out and grind it out.
And college, like, for any of you who, if you have been to any college sports or if you've played them yourselves, it is different too, in the sense that when you are a student athlete and you wear the colors of your university, there is an entire student body that is behind you, rooting for you, watching you, bleeding the same things you bleed, right?
Yeah.
And that is different. Yes, there's a fan base. Like, when you get to pro sports, yes, there's a fan base, and yes, there's fans and family and all of that. But it is very different from that very pure, raw
sense of pride.
Yeah, pride that goes into playing when you're, whether, wherever that is, USports, high school, NCAA, it's different.
Oh, I could not agree more. And like, I think it was like TikTok or something, and it was people walking around the Connecticut campus, saying like, "Who's your biggest athlete?"
Yeah,
and everybody obviously said Paige Beckers.
They know.
Like people
100%.
on campus that go to those big schools, Sanford, Haley Jones.
Yeah.
Like
No, they
you go to
know.
they know who the big names are.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that like that sense of like you need to have a jersey because you are wearing the same jersey as that person.
Yeah.
Like I agree with you. That connection and that pride and everybody going to your games and everybody being on campus and history of who played there and my
the
God.
band and the chants and the like there's just like this it's just a culture within itself.
I remember playing in North Dakota before they cut the women's team, and when they brought the band out, I was like, oh
yeah.
my God.
And the whole student section, and like, you just can't explain if you're a sports fan and you've never been, not that I don't want to downplay the value of high school athletics even or university athletics here in Canada, but it's a different world.
That's right.
In the US. And if you haven't been and you're a sports fan, do yourself a favor and do that because it is worth it.
Yeah.
Worth it.
Because even when you look at the crowds, how big they are that's coming up for volleyball.
Yeah.
Women's volleyball championships, like it's huge.
Have you, what do you think of the Oregon Ducks gym floor?
Okay. Let's talk about it because I have always been, because I understand why they have that gym floor. And so for people that have never seen it before, it literally looks like trees. Like it's trees
and it looks
on their court.
And ratty.
It's it's like a landscape of trees on their floor, and
but it just makes it look old.
And so the outsides of it are darker than the insides, and then all the lines are green. So Oregon, like, what a huge school. Like the Oregon Ducks is such a massive, like, it's such an iconic place to be an athlete, to be honest. Like even when you think of their track athletes, like they are so unbelievable in Oregon. But there is something about, I bet it obviously would be like, if you are Oregon, you love it. But if you're not Oregon, you hate it. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
like, because you get to practice on it, you get to feel it, you get to see it constantly. But like when I look at it, all I think in my head is, what a distraction.
I feel the same.
What a distraction.
I was watching some basketball highlights and I was watching some NCAA volleyball highlights in the gym. And I felt the same way. I thought, if you didn't know what you were looking at, it literally looks like they just ran in the middle of the floor and wore it out more.
That's fair.
It does.
So we're going to do running today.
Yeah. So their coach likes this like short laps. I don't know. But it kind of just looks like they just made it like wore out the middle.
But you could see what they were.
I totally understand, but it's like, it is just, I find it very distracting. And obviously it's like a staple for them, but it reminded me of, I also think this is like the Brooklyn Nets is what I have up on my screen right now. They play in the NBA. And I remember when I first saw this and it was like, what's that movie where all of a sudden then they come into color? Like that's kind of what you feel when you look at this. Like, did I just lose all sight of color in this gymnasium?
I know what you're saying. I have no idea what movie you're talking about where they all of a sudden have color. But I see what you're saying because their gym floor is like a dull gray.
Yeah.
So it's like a
Pleasantville.
gray.
That's
Pleasantville.
definitely it.
Never heard of that a day in my life.
Oh, okay. Well, I probably watched it as a child. Anyways,
So it's like a dull gray, but it's definitely one of those things that if you're from Oregon, you like can't imagine the floor being anything else than these trees. Yeah. And then if you're not from Oregon, you're like, this sucks because as soon as I lose sight of the ball,
it's so distracting.
It's so distracting. Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it just like,
man, look at how full those stadiums are. Because as we approach on the 10th, we will have quarters finals for women's volleyball.
Yeah, that's that happened fast. We have, if you're from Manitoba, you would have watched some provincial volleyball in the last, either this weekend or
Championships tomorrow. IGAC.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
That's right.
Is that 4A championships?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's from what I've seen, because I live very close to there, it has been pumping.
Jammed, eh?
It has been very good. Very cool.
Yeah, because we had, I think, single A. What was it, single A or double A was up in the PWHPA?
No, I'm not sure about the PWHPA.
Oh, there was
not sure about the PWHPA.
There were some volleyball provincials up there, I think, too. So, yeah, it's just that time of year where this is, again, back to why I love volleyball, is because you could play the volleyball season at the very beginning of your hockey season. And if you rolled your ankle, you weren't out for playoffs hockey.
Yeah.
That would never happen nowadays. But
no,
back then, in a town, like I said, where they'll take you because they need you.
Because you make the team.
Make the roster number.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I also, I don't want to spend a ton of time on NWSL right now, but again, we continue to see, man, they just got so many bruises. Like they're so many bruises within that league. And I think that we want to just say that they're clearly on the right path where they've got their players association and they've learned lots of lessons and they're holding lots of people accountable for things. And so there's some organizations that are now up for sale, and that's really, in the long story of that, is a good thing. But there's just always drama with the NWSL.
There's always something going on, because even when we think about the commissioner switch, so Commissioner Jessica Berman, I feel like she's been having to issue statements so much since she became the commissioner of the NWSL. Mm-hmm. And so for the people too that haven't been keeping up to it as much, the National Women's Soccer League, the owner of the Portland Thorns has put the team up for sale. So Merritt Paulson has made the decision to sell the Thorns, and is looking for a smooth transition with a new ownership in Portland, and has made a $1 million contribution to the league. And this money will be used to launch a new NWSL player safety department. So, like you were saying, so many
bruises on their face.
So many bruises, but so many things that are going to be coming out in the positive of this, because putting $1 million towards player safety, like it.
Agreed.
Needs to be bigger. Like it a lot. Needs to grow. Needs to continue to grow. Merritt Paulson, he was the owner of the team. Couple things happened.
Yeah, good time for change.
Yeah, absolutely needed to change. So they have also announced their 2023 season schedule. And I think with the women coming out talking about player safety, with the crowds that they were able to draw in this past year, with so many positive things heading in the right direction, I do think that it'll probably be the biggest year for the NWSL, specifically because you can see that they're actually taking actions to make the league better. Yeah. It's not this shove under the rug type situation anymore. It's like, nope, this happened to me. This is real. This is not good enough. We're the best in the world. Yeah. Time to move on.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's like already been some such interesting moves, right? Like we saw, oh, brother, help me out here. Kelly O'Hara. In Gotham. We saw Ashlyn Harris retire, but is going to work in a newly created role in Gotham. I can't remember what it is, but so I love that, keeping these athletes within the game and continuing to help grow their game. So
that's right.
Yeah, again, the NWSL, I really liked. Did you see when Christine Sinclair declared that she was going to go back to Portland at their parade.
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
So that's cool. I'm actually reading her book. I just started her book.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Nice.
So we'll talk about that someday on the pod.
That's on my list.
Yeah.
That is on my list.
It is upstairs in the extra. I'm on a plane tomorrow, so it's coming with me. So
there we go.
We'll put a dent in her tomorrow and Tuesday when I come back. But yeah, I'm looking forward to reading that because I've heard lots of good things about it. So
yeah, I think, well, with, New York picking up Kelly O'Hara, that's never a bad thing.
I know, right? There'll be some shakes still. It'll be good to see.
Oh yeah. Like, so NWSL, we saw this season with Portland coming out on top. It is very rare that you see ownership sell a team in the year that they win.
Yeah.
Which shows that there are massive changes being made in the league. And I'm excited to see what it's all about. I was excited with Kansas City.
Yeah.
Where they ended up. That was freaking awesome. So
yeah, no, it's been fun. And then really man, it's still hockey season.
Oh my
December,
gosh.
So hockey's in full swing now. And yeah, we've seen hockey with the PHF and the PWHPA. They still are very much thriving differently.
Yep.
But I'm most excited, if I'm just gonna throw out there my level of excitement for anything hockey coming up is in the PWHPA. But we can start at the PHF if you want to.
I'm good to start wherever because I've been in with all of it.
The PWHPA, like I mentioned off the top when Addie was saying the league pass for the WNBA, the PWHPA has made it uber freaking easy if you live in the country of Canada or anywhere in the world, honestly, to watch hockey. And we very much appreciate that. They are headed to Ottawa, our nation's capital, for their All-Star weekend. And we may need to add, I don't know if you can find it online or if we need to look on good old IG. But part of their All-Star weekend is also a skills competition.
Oh, baby. You betcha.
I can't freaking wait to watch.
I
can't wait.
I know. I agree with you. It's literally called that, All-Star, because they're making it so... Well, it's shaking it up for people a little bit, right? Like it's giving everybody a different look on these players and what they've been able to do throughout this year because everything has been standard showcase format. Yeah. So now everybody going to Ottawa, it's going to be a skills competition, a 3-on-3 tournament. Yeah. So they're completely shaking it all up. And they're going to be doing the same thing with clinics, youth and adult skills clinics ran by PWHPA players and coaches. We should just go.
I probably need that.
Teach me, coach.
Yeah. Show me your ways. Yeah, I don't know what it is about this skills competition, but for years I have been waiting. Like we never get to see. I'm thinking now specifically like Canada versus USA. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But to put them in a pure skills test.
I agree. The only time I can ever think of it was in the middle of the NHL.
I know, as like a flaunty show-offness of
I agree. That's the only time that I can think of it, though, when we think of how talented these women are. That's the only time that, quote unquote, we've been able to actually just see their talent.
I know. So we should put some polls out on this, but like in your head, and now again, this is kind of skewed too, because the way that we've talked about fastest skater, really everyone thinks that Kendall Coyne Schofield is the fastest skater. Yeah. Now she's up against Blair Turnbull, Claire Thompson, Emily Clark, Sophia Shaver, Victoria Bach, and Renata Fast. Her last name is Fast.
Okay, so here's the deal. So who would you pick?
Fast.
Me too. I would 100% pick Renata Fast too.
Yeah.
She is She is crazy.
I know. So this is that's why I'm just like, I can't, like drooling over the fact that we're going to get to see them display their talents
go head to head
way.
Yeah, I agree. And who else do they have on there for the skills challenge?
Skills challenge. Marie Flute Poulin, Hannah Brandt, Jessie Eldred, Sarah Potomac, Jamie Lee Rattray, Ella Shelton.
Oh yeah, that'll be boring. Just unbelievable.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Save streak. Nicole Hensley, Anne Renee Davian, Emerence Mashmeyer, Maddie Rooney. Brick wall, brick wall, brick wall,
Bang,
brick
bang,
wall.
bang.
Accuracy shooting. Hillary Knight, Haley Skimura, Abby Rock, Sarah Nurse, Brianne Jenner, Alex Carpenter.
Come on. It's...
Set your alarms, folks. My God. And you don't even need to because it's in our country. Like, it's you'd be silly not to watch it.
The stage has been set. And if you are a hockey fan, if you have kids that are hockey fans, this is what they should be watching.
Put it on the TV. It's on CBC. If you're in Canada, you literally have no excuse.
Yeah. No, that's exactly right.
You have no excuse not to have this on the TV for your children. If they are playing, for yourselves, if you are wanting to watch. I know, it is an incredible, I'm going to say this again one more time. It is an incredible opportunity to see the highest talent of hockey, the highest talent of women's hockey displayed against each other in a super unique way we've never got to see before.
That's right. Yeah.
We've seen rivalry series. We've seen PWHPA Dream Gap tours. We've seen Olympics. We've seen World Cups. We've seen all of these things, Canada, US, all of these women competing with and against each other.
Yeah.
We have never got them on display this way.
Yeah, that's right.
It's an incredible opportunity.
Yeah, 100%.
That's the end of my rant. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
And that'll be it. So I'm so very clearly excited for the skills competition because it's amazing. But I'm interested to hear your thoughts on also the element on a 3v3 tournament.
Yeah.
Because there are elements of this that are meant to truly showcase the skill, right?
Yeah.
And how do you do that? You do a skills competition, which they've done flawlessly with who they've picked and everything. And now they're adding the 3-on-3 tournament aspect. And it's like, okay, is there a better way to showcase talent with more time and space? Like, of course, it's 3-on-3. So,
and is it an actual tournament structure? Like, remember how they had on social media, they had the captains' votes?
Right.
And then they voted the 4 team captains for the All-Star stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Is it have you found anywhere that it shows if it's an actual
a 3v3 tournament?
3v3 tournament.
Other than the fact that I've got here 3v3 tournament. That's the only thing that I can think of.
Because the schedule says 4:45 p.m. on the 9th in Kemptville. Is that in Quebec? Kemptville? Sounds non-Quebec-y, but maybe it's in Quebec.
I'm not sure.
Is Adidas versus Scotiabank. And then 8 p.m. Sonnet versus Harvey's in Gatineau, which is in Quebec, but just across the bridge from Ottawa. And then in the 10th, we've got Adidas versus Sonnet at 3 and Harvey's versus Scotiabank at 7. But then where's the schedule
Sunday
of all the other events?
You know what? Okay, so here's what I think is happening.
I think there's the normal games, and then the Sunday's the extended,
so here that's
extra goodie bag.
That's what I think. I think
Thanks
we're talking about a
party.
goodie bag.
Here's your treat bag.
Yeah, 100%. I think we're talking a little extra secret sauce up in here this weekend because it says here, I was just.
Yeah, okay, so it is.
Yes.
So there are the games. So there are games on Friday and Saturday, just like the normal tour stops.
Showcase.
And then on Sunday, December the 11th, if you're in Ottawa, congratulations, go to Canadian Tire Center and buy yourself some tickets. The skills competition is at 11 a.m. The All-Star Tournament is at noon. 6 round robin games, 10 minutes each. 3v3, top 2 teams playing the championship game.
So that is like a little extra.
Yeah.
Big fan of that.
Who do you think?
Because they had skills competition 3v3. So that just means on that one day, on addition to the actual tournament. Yeah. That's freaking awesome.
I know, right? So I'll also be interested. So fastest skater accuracy shooting skills challenge. They had the goal. They only told us the goalies. Who's going to be on the breakaways?
Breakaway.
Anyway.
Ooh, they did only tell us the goalies. Sneaky. There's a little extra.
Sneaky.
PWHPA sneaky.
Yeah.
I love that.
I'm super, super excited for it and for them. It's very, very fun to watch the best hockey players in the world compete against each other.
So this will be their fourth stop this year already. At Montreal, Truro, Pittsburgh, and Ottawa. That is fantastic. Mm-hmm. The girls have been putting on the air miles. Holy moly.
Aren't air miles like going out of style? Like obsolete?
Are they?
I don't know. I think so. Maybe not.
I don't know.
I just on that.
I just said air miles.
I know here's a little glimpse into my brain. I have my air miles number that I never use in my head.
Like memorized? You just know it?
Yeah.
Come on. Mm-hmm. What file would that be logged in? Just because
everyone wants to use it. Well, I can double check it. I think I do. 8407-172-9248.
Oh my God. Now we obviously have to check it. So that is like for the PWHPA.
8407-172-9248. I absolutely do have that in my brain.
What possible time would you, like, if somebody is going, oh, do you have an air miles card? You're like, no, I'll just give you the numbers.
Yeah, usually.
What?
And especially when you pump gas. So if you pump gas,
yeah,
it says put your air miles card in. Well, I don't have one anymore. It's in my phone, and I cannot inject my phone into the card slot. So then I say enter the number, 8407-172-9248.
Oh, Jesus. You know what I do? No, thanks. No, thanks. No, thanks, gas place. Thank you for asking, though. That's insane.
That is funny.
That is so
Do you remember
random.
your co-op number?
No. Wait. No. And actually, that's so funny because that's like a small town thing where I live.
Yeah.
And my neighbor gives me shit all the time for not remembering because she works at the co-op.
Yeah.
So she's like, what's your co-op number? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, figure it out, Addie. As I'm like leaving the store, I'm like, sorry, Colleen. I'll get it next time, girl. I swear.
It is true. Like, it's funny too. This is not a plug of co-op, but whatever. Because I do lots of traveling. I have like my buddy who lives in LaSalle. I have her co-op number in LaSalle, so I'll use it there. And then all these other associations. So I just chime in, like when I'm in Clarny, I know I have someone's there. When I'm in Brandon, I use my grandma's. So I just like contribute to their little cutback from co-op every year because I have my own for all of these places.
I love that. You're just spreading the love.
I know, right?
But that's again, what file folder it's in your brain.
To rattle in my brain, but they do.
But they just stay there. So where they stay.
Yeah. Anyways, we should talk about the PHF before we let everyone go for the day.
We most definitely need to talk about the PHF. 7 games in for the Riveters, 6 for everybody else. And here's the funny thing that I just wanted to bring up with you, Alicia Cowson.
Sure.
If you're on a team, right, and you're in, a league, the PHF, and there's a team called the Metropolitan Riveters who has 7 games, and you are a team such as the Buffalo Beauts.
Yeah.
And you have played 2 games.
You're wondering what the H?
What? Combined.
Yeah, what's going on?
Combined, the Riveters have more than the Beauts and the Whale.
Yeah, what's up with that, I wonder?
And so I was trying to look into it because I'm like, Connecticut Whale had a great game the other night.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait a second, they've only played 3 games. The schedule cannot be that far off. That
it can't.
The Force, Whitecaps 6, and Pride all have 6 games. The Beauts have 2 and the Whale have 3.
Yeah, it's very odd.
And that can't be on it. Like, you would think, okay, it comes down to like logistics and scheduling, blah, blah, blah. You cannot be December 4th and 2 games into the season. That doesn't make any sense.
Not to me.
Yep. Nope. No, it doesn't.
The other thing.
How is that remotely real?
No. I have no idea. I thought it was late. Remember when I said, like, I think they started on November 5th, and I was like, they're starting way fucking late.
Yeah, like, this is off of normal
I'm not sure.
Starting hockey time.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's up. Like,
so their next game isn't even till December 10th against Boston.
The other thing is, are we leaving games as a tie?
I haven't seen that. Why?
Buffalo Buttes, 1 win, 0 losses, 1 OT for 4 points. If you win an OT, it's a win.
Yep.
Unless they're 3 points for a win.
I think they are 3 points for a win.
Oh, so they lost, but they got 1 for getting out of regulation.
Yeah.
That makes more sense. I was going to say, hold on, we need to close our laptops and stop talking about PHF.
Yeah. If that's the way they're rolling, we don't want nothing to do with it. But I think that's very interesting to me.
Is odd. So I'm very curious to know why. But if you're part of the Buffalo Buttes or the Connecticut Whale organizations and you have any idea why you've only played 2 games and 3 games respectively, let us know.
Just jump on the pod. We'd love to chat with you just about a bunch of different things.
Yeah. And like, wow, Connecticut, 3 games, 35 PIMs.
They fighting.
Yeah.
35 PIMs in 3 games. Best stat on the entire board.
Boston Pride played 6 games, 38 PIMs.
Oh, like, baby.
Yeah, they are literally fighting their way. I mean, there's a lot of PIMs so far. The Riveters, 7 games, but still
7 games.
Yeah, you're averaging 10 PIMs a game.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah, that's right. It's wild.
Like 5 penalties a game is a lot.
Yeah,
on an average of 5 penalties a game is a lot.
Yeah,
3, get it.
For sure. You get your classic tripping and hooking, and
it's like
maybe a little.
Yeah, they think it's beer league, and they don't want you to get your nachos.
That's right.
They're like, yeah, screw you, Callison. That's a slash.
That's exactly
right. You're not letting me down. I don't like the nachos anyways. You're letting everybody else down who is depending on me to get the nachos.
So for an insider for the people listening, if you play beer league at a certain arena in Winnipeg, if you go through an entire game with no penalties, your team gets nachos up in the bar.
Such a promotion of good athleticism.
So then if you're the one person that gets a penalty in the game, you are buying the nachos, my friend. Exactly. You are buying the nachos. But there's been a lot of really good things to come out of the PHF in the starting, other than we obviously have these mystery teams of the Buffalo Buttes and the Whales. And it was like Michaela Grant-Mentes. That was one of the biggest things that people were looking forward to, is watching her switch over from the 6 to the Buttes.
Yeah.
And since she's gone there, she's played
2 games.
2 games.
Yeah.
What?
2 games.
That's insane. 120 minutes. That's it.
Well, she got more shots on goal than anyone else on her team.
Yeah. That's why there's
always
scouted her.
Some odds and sods, it seems. That, nice to see the Force have started at least 500. That's good to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
In my opinion. The PHF I feel like got more difficult to follow in terms of watching.
Yeah. I think there needs to be, especially with the Toronto Six being such a big team, there has to be a bit more emphasis on getting Canadians an easier way to watch. And with the Montreal Force, right?
Yeah, there's 2 of 7.
Yeah. Montreal Force with the Toronto Six. Like, it shouldn't just be ESPN Plus to be able to watch games in time in full, right? So it's like,
yeah, agreed.
So I guess we'll get to see in action the Connecticut Whale December 9th.
So what is a full season in the PHF? Like in the NHL, it's 82 games. What do these women play? Like 20? Just wondering.
Oh,
do we know?
should. I'm not 100% sure on the exact number. We should look that up.
Standings from last year.
Let's do that.
I mean, it's not going to be a good indicator because it'll have playoffs probably lumped into one, and there won't be that 20.
20.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Interesting.
20 games in there, and I'm not 100% sure. Let's click on one to see if that includes playoffs as well. I would assume that wouldn't include playoffs.
Tab, so.
Oh, yeah. Regular season, 20.
Yeah.
Plus your playoffs.
Very interesting. Anyways, yeah, the PDHF, it is tougher to watch when it's on ESPN Plus, especially when you compare it to the PWHPA. But they're obviously still moving, still shaking, still growing. The Force are playing games. And
I was actually in Montreal, and I did everything to get myself some Force stuff.
Yeah, hard to do.
Hard. And they were away that weekend, or I was going to take the whole crew out and we were going to go to a Force game. But one thing I will say is with the Montreal Force, like I definitely wanted to go see them play if they were playing when we were in town. I wanted gear. I wanted whatever. And it would take so we went to a Canadiens game.
Mm-hmm.
The atmosphere is electric.
Yeah.
The bars surrounding it are just absolutely jam-packed and line up for days. People wait hours to get into the bar before a game.
Yeah.
You can't go anywhere with someone trying to sell you merch. You can buy anything.
Literally.
Yeah. Anything.
Yeah.
With the Canadian symbol on it, anywhere. There's bars that have like statues out front with Canadian jerseys on it. Like the culture that has been ingrained in that city is admirable. It's unbelievable, and you feel weird there if you're not a part of it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And all I was thinking the whole time was, all they would need is just a section right there.
Yeah.
And then you're not taken away from any of the boys. You're not taken away from the NHL. You're not taken away from anything.
Yeah.
But you start placing women in the same spot where, if you're at a Montreal Canadiens game, you can also buy Force stuff. Yeah. It doesn't take away from any aspect of it. I'm like, that is a hockey city. That is a city that is built off the passion of the Montreal Canadiens. It was unbelievable. And I'm like, the girls, them having a franchise there is fantastic. It's like, how do you
turn it up a notch?
How do you integrate the two? Or if it is integrating the two, I don't know if that's the right answer. I don't know if the answer is integrating the two or, promoting them in a way that's closer to the Montreal Canadiens. But I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah, we
holy
at minute 47 of the podcast, I don't think we're going to get into this all today, but this goes back to the same conundrum of like we saw. So the PWHPA, the Ottawa Showcase, that All-Star Showcase is brought to you by the Ottawa Senators in partnership with the Ottawa Senators. Mm-hmm. When they go to Pittsburgh, same thing. So that's where that divide is that the NHL and the NHLPA are starting to partner with the PWHPA. Right. And therefore, they're probably not partnering with the PHF.
Yeah, that's right.
So
that's 100% right.
It goes back to, it is still a very divided world. And we think, we've said this before, we understand why people would. And there's only 100 spots to play in the PWHPA, and there's a lot more than 100 women who want to play professional hockey and are qualified and athletic enough and still talented enough to play.
Yeah.
But Yeah, that's for another day.
That's a big one. That's a big one. It just got me thinking because
It's
I'm
so
like,
true.
it's so true.
Remember, like the first kickoff of the year for the PWHPA was in Montreal.
Yeah, that's right.
And it was we watched it online, and it was a great showcase. It is it is a sports city.
Oh, it's insane.
They also have like great food and just energy. Oh. If you haven't been to Montreal, do that too.
Do that. Highly recommended.
Yep.
But yeah, no, we'll definitely have to
unpackage that a little bit more.
We should just have PWHPA representative, PHF representative, us two in the middle.
I don't think you're going to get anywhere.
Couple drinky poos, and we'll see where the night goes. But I agree with you. I might be wishful thinking over here. But
yeah.
I would love it.
I agree.
Well, my friend, it's been a minute. It's been a minute of actually talking sports. So that was super fun.
Agreed.
Cowie, final words.
We are grateful to be back for the first episode of year 2 of Beauty Sports. So thank you for being here and having us in your ears for the last 50 minutes. Like we said off the top of the show, you can find us on Instagram at Beauty Sports Doc, Addie at Addie Miles Abbott, me at Cowie14. Head on over to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you find your podcasts, and make sure to leave us a 5-star rating and a nice, lovely message and review. That's the best way to grow the pod. We hope you have a wonderful week. We will see you next week, Tuesday, for the next episode.
Thank you all, and we'll see you next week.